Senator Marty Golden already mentioned what's going on in New York City. And of course they blame everything on President Trump. Dirty streets, President Trump. Potholes, President Trump. Unsafe subway, President Trump. Flu, even flu, yeah, everything. So because they do not want to take responsibility. I just would like to remind you that today we have a socialist mayor, and I will give chance to Assemblyman Michael Novakhov in a few minutes to talk about Stop Mamdani line. I like this name, Stop Mamdani line a lot. Subway, buses, schools, streets, parks, economy. Last year, New York City lost 114,000 people. They moved outside of New York City. This year, we see current mayor proposing 9.5% property tax increase. It's Mamdani proposing, not Donald Trump. It's Zakran Mamdani proposing, increasing our property taxes by 9.5%. It's Mamdani who is hiring people and creating agencies that nobody ever asked. Nobody even thought about the idea of creating such agencies to begin with. So he can blame whoever he wants, but he has to take responsibility for his own actions. And now he's even blaming New York City Council, which is majority overwhelmingly Democratic. But he doesn't like, they do not say always yes to everything he proposed. He wants only yes, yes, yes to everything. And when they say, no, 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 you cannot ruin our rainy day fund, because there is no earthquake in New York City, besides Mamdani and City Hall. You cannot take $1 billion from the rainy day fund, because it's not like some kind of Black Tuesday crash on Wall Street, or like some kind of another Sandy, besides Mamdani and the City Hall. And you cannot raise our property taxes, and you cannot say no to new police officer being graduated from police academy, because that's vital for our security. Long story short, I would like to introduce the next speaker, because we want to move forward. I would like to introduce Assemblyman Michael Novakhov, because he's not just running on Republican Conservative Party line on November 3rd, he's also now asking each one of you who live in 45th Assembly District to sign his petitions right now. Stop Mamdani. Again, I believe it will be a very popular line on November 3rd. Stop Mamdani. If you live on Brighton Beach, end of Brighton Beach, Manhattan Beach, Sheepshead Bay, Midwood, Gravesend, Beach Haven, please sign Stop Mamdani petition. And we will stop Mamdani. And I see Igor Kazasker, he's also a board member. He is successfully collecting signatures under petition to expel Mamdani from City Hall even before any kind of referendum. Unfortunately, in New York City and in New York State, there is no recall procedure. Even in San Francisco, you can recall local district attorney, for example. People just vote, and they do not like someone in 1 year, let's recall the person. In New York City, there is no such a procedure. Because only if you elect new governor, like Bruce Blakeman, then Bruce Blakeman can on January 1st replace Manhattan DA Alfred Bragg, who released everybody from jail and everybody from custody, everybody, regardless of the crime.
That's how you recall.
And he can recall Mamdani as well. He is the only one. Governor has such a power. Of course, Governor Hochul will never replace or fire Mamdani because she endorsed him last year. And he endorsed her also this year already. So they love each other. So the only way to stop this madness is to vote Republican on November 3rd. So I would like to introduce our very good friend, Assemblyman Michael Novakhov, who just celebrated his 50th birthday. Happy birthday, Misha.
What was the list that the good Mamdani stopped recently that would have put more?
Police officers in
How
Pakistan?
many is that?
5,000 police officers.
And he did away with that list, correct?
He said he doesn't want it. He said, like, we don't have money for it.
And where are the cops doing right now?
They're living in droves.
They are
They're retiring, unfortunately. And it's not a laughing matter, and it has nothing to do with Donald Trump. It's all Mamdani, Mamdani, Mamdani. Okay, Assemblyman Michael Novakhov. Great fighter in Brooklyn and in Albany.
Thank you. Good evening, friends. Always happy to be with you here. Thank you for coming.
That's a great club. Proud to be on board. So first of all, yeah, we started with the, we ended with the, as Marty mentioned, 5,000 cops less. And what does it mean for us? So I'll give you an example. There was a protest in Sheepshead Bay, in my district, only because a local business does business with Israel. That's it. Only because of that. They came, they intimidated a local business with, those people came with the Palestinian flags and something new, with Iranian flags. I mean, how can you imagine going with the Iranian flag, the regime, carrying them, of course, not the one with the lion, no. The current Iranian flag, the country which hates America, which says death to America, right? This regime, the flag, and this is a flag of this regime that hates each and every American and wants to kill us. How is it possible that you, in America, you use the flag of that regime? It's unbelievable. But anyway, after the protest, which was secured by the local precinct, that mob kind of spread it into different streets, and they went to Mazal Day School on Brighton 6th. I think they're on Brighton Mazal Day School, right. It's a synagogue and a Jewish school, yeah, for kids. And they started protesting there, like part of that mob. They started protesting there. But because we don't have enough police, because we don't have enough patrol cars, because we don't have enough officers, they were not able to track them, because they spread it into different parts, different streets. So I'm receiving a call. I was in Albany at that time, and I'm receiving a call from a friend whose kid goes to that school. And he said, Michael, did you know about that? And I'm like, no, I did not. So police didn't have enough officers and enough patrol cars to control that situation, and that wasn't enough of protesters, maybe 30 people, right? So if the NYPD cannot control 30 people and where they're going, and they're intimidating not just the local business, but a school where kids go to.
And they were very aggressive.
Right, they were pretty aggressive there. Right, nothing happened, thank God, nothing happened. However, I wrote a letter to the 6.0 and 6.1 commanding officers I'm not blaming them, because you don't blame police, because their hands are tied. They cannot do anything without the patrol cars. If you don't have enough patrol cars, what would you do? So, but again, I want kind of answers from them, like what do we do in the similar situation if something like that happens again, right? So I'm talking with them about that. So those are the real consequences of not having enough police presence. Something else I want to tell you, Ari mentioned my 50th birthday. Thank you for being with me. And I decided to use my 50th birthday to do a fundraiser, right? And I did a fundraiser in Oceana Theater and on Brighton Beach. I think it was pretty successful, considering that 1,200 people came to support me. 1,200 people. That's a lot of people. But what my opponent did at that day, he put up posters. I don't know, I have it small on my phone, so I'm going to show everyone. Saying, join me as a clown, and saying clown politics. Clown politics. Yeah. I mean, 1,200 people came to support me. Is that clown politics? He looks like a clown now, right? Putting these posters up that I'm a clown and this is clown politics. Right here, just want you to see it. Because, by the way, I look pretty nice in here. Yeah. Clown politics, imagine. 1,200 people came to support the clown. It's just, yeah, right. And people like me so much in the area that they said, Michael, we took them down. We just took them down, So this is what Democrats do. Democrats do clown politics. This is what they do. And they lie, they intimidate, they do crazy stuff. Because, and my opponent is desperately doesn't know how to win because I was barely campaigning. I had no idea who that guy was last time, so I was barely campaigning. And he invested $1 million, almost $1 million in his campaign. And I was barely campaigning, and I still won with 230 votes. It's a very, I know it's a very small margin, very, very close. But now I know that, and I'm campaigning heavily now. So, just important to know the crazy stuff that they're doing. It's absolutely insane. And they're doing the same stuff with nobody. We're witnesses with Alec Brook-Krasny. We're witnessing what they are doing in Albany, what kind of BS they're doing there. And this extension of the budget, so many extensions of the budget. And let me tell you something. The budget extension gives them an opportunity to hide the transparency. So because we're extending the budget, we don't know, there's no transparency. We don't know exactly how money are distributed. And when you're spending $5 billion for a few days, right? That's approximately. Just imagine that, $5 billion for 3 days. That's the spending, that's the extension we voted for. I mean, we have to vote for it because, it's the money for the state police and all the necessary stuff. But when we're extending the budget, there's no transparency, meaning that basically they can steal as much money as they want. Again, we don't have proof of that, but why extend? So there's a lot of problems with extending it, not having the real budget, but extending the old budget. What else I wanted to tell you about the line, the Stop Mamdani line? I think it's a great idea. And let me tell you something. There's some Republicans, there's some Democrats. So they're moderate Democrats that never vote on the Republican line for a number of reasons. Let's say they don't like Trump, right? Some other reasons. They never voted Republican, and it's in their principles not to vote Republican. It's okay, I respect that. But they hate Mamdani as much as they probably hate Trump. So for them, that's an opportunity to vote for a conservative candidate without voting, Republican. So I think it's a great idea because this is, unfortunately, I would love for something else to unite all of us, not hating someone, not hating Mamdani. But unfortunately, that's the way it is. We have a mayor who everybody hates, except, those crazy progressives who voted for him, right? But normal people, especially people from our neighborhood, we do hate Mamdani. We don't want this mayor. This is not our mayor. We don't want him here. So I think Stop Mamdani line is a great opportunity to add, to a conservative candidate and to get those, moderate and conservative Democrats voting on this line instead of going on voting on the Republican line. So it's a great idea, and thank you to all my colleagues for supporting it, who are like.
Let people sign it.
Yeah, and there's a petition. You can sign the petition if you didn't sign for for a Republican or Democratic candidate. Please sign the petition. That's basically. That's it, Ari. Thank you so much. Thank you. Also recognize our great bishop. How are you? Good to see you. Good to see you. It's an amazing church on East 15th, right? East 15th between W and X. Yeah, I've been there a few times. You guys doing an amazing job. I love the gospel singing. I got to be there again. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Great musicians, great musicians. Of course I do, of course. So thank you so much. Thank you, folks.
Thank you, Michael. November 3rd, Republican line, Conservative line, Stop Mamdani line. Michael Novakhov. Thank you, Michael. The next speaker is Assemblyman Alec Brook-Krasny, who also helped to create this club, and who is a very good friend of many communities of Southern Brooklyn. And And he also won many times in a district which is overwhelmingly Democratic district. And every time they say, no, that's only Democrats, you know what? He's getting Democratic vote, independent votes, Republican votes, and everybody else. That's why he's winning. I guarantee you he will win this year again. November 10th. Coney Island, Bay Ridge, Seagate, Warmastram Village, Brighton Beach, and West Beach little bit, yeah? Okay, Alec Brook-Krasny.
And also Bishopville Parkway between Bay Ridge and Brighton Beach. And there's only one person who's there. And that person is voting Republican. Bishop, one of the reasons I'm winning is because I love gospel music and I have great churches on Coney Island. And I have a great friends, Bishop Hobbs, and people who just, who there all the time. And I just, Rodney Knight, who's a pastor now, we lost a couple great people last year, but we better than ever been in Coney Island. Firstly, because we got rid of that casino idea.
That's right.
We did that. I have a speech for about 45 minutes, but I'm not going to tell you anything new. You know more about Mamdani than I know about Mamdani. No, truly, because I'm trying not to think about this mayor at all. I'm just trying to do my thing. And you know all about safety. You know we don't have enough police officers. You know that we have very strange people on the streets now. You know when people was against the Vietnam War or Korean War, those people were real Americans. They were demonstrating against the war with the American flags in their hands. And what we have now, we have a different situation. I would solve it in a different mode, but for that, I'm not in Russia anymore. So the idea of baseball bat and I really can't stand those demonstrators, and the local police officers, they know about it. So they don't let me go close to them because they know I've been in a couple fights already in there. Because I just, it doesn't matter, you know, it's just that it's an ugly face of anti-American person. So I really, truly hate people who are burning American flags, and they still live here. Let them go and live in Iran. Why not? So with whatever people are talking about war in Iran now, I'm going to say a few words to you, and I'm going to finish my speech with that. What President Trump is doing now in Iran is preventing nuclear 9/11 from happening in New York City. And you will know it's serious, because some people are saying, well, North Korea, Russia, China, you all have nuclear arms. Why don't we go against them? It's very simple. It's very hard to find a North Korean pilot who would go and kill himself, destroying, without even knowing whether he's destroying World Trade Center or not. It's hard to find a Russian pilot like that. It's hard to find a Chinese pilot, a kamikaze one. But it's very easy. 15 seconds, you'll find a number of pilots in Hezbollah and Hamas and other terrorist organizations who wouldn't even think twice. They would come with the ship under any flag to New York City harbor with the nuclear arms. And that's what President Trump is doing. And if anybody is asking you what this president is doing, and it's happening in the elevator, you just say one sentence. He's preventing New York City from getting nuclear 9/11. That's what he's doing now in Iran. And it doesn't matter what regime they have. It doesn't matter. Help is their regime. but 440 kilos of uranium to 60% uranium enrichment, that needs to be found. And then we'll think about finishing the war. That's what needs to be happening. And if we have to pay $30, $40 a week extra for the gas, while our president is preventing us and our kids and our grandkids from getting nuclear 9/11, that's a very cheap price. You have to agree with that. That's all I have to tell you. Because they all going against Trump and this war again. And the Democrats, especially Democrat socialists, are becoming anti-Americans. That's what happening. And once that war is over, with 440 kilos of uranium in our hands, you'll see what's going to happen. The real people with the common sense, they will realize that those democratic socialists, and they're all socialists now, they become anti-Americans. They don't deserve to be elected. That's what's going to happen. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alek. Thank you. I would like to give a chance to speak to my boss, Senator Stiven Chen. Maybe you saw how he interacted with Mayor Mamdani in Albany when Mamdani came, and people asked only one question: who is the mayor of New York City, Stiven Chen or the Grand Mamdani? Because Senator Chen showed deep knowledge of what's going on in our schools, in our police precincts, in our neighborhoods, and our mayor showed only one thing: he doesn't know anything what's going on, he's not ready for this job, and that's why he did not like this line of questioning. So, American hero, retired police officer, sergeant of NYPD, retired Marine, 10 years volunteer of the Parent-Teacher Association, amazing husband, amazing father, amazing public servant. He works 24/7. He's not working from 9 to 5 or anything like this, not even close. Like during the snowfall, he jumped in the car at 11 p.m. going all over the neighborhoods of South Brooklyn, just checking how everybody is doing and what corner of the street is not cleaned up. How many elected officials doing something like this? Senator Stiven Chen.
Thank you, everyone. Good evening. It's my pleasure to be here. I'm very happy to see you turning out to be here tonight because you are concerned about our neighborhood. Now, my friend Michael Novakhov over there, you mentioned that everybody hates Mamdani. Right. Yeah. Okay. And why is that? And I'll tell you why. I tell you why we all hate him. Because he hates us. Simple as that. You're talking about a man that's never had children that went to public schools. He's never owned a small home. He's never been a union worker, or a worker, for that matter. He's never been a police officer. He's never served the country. He was never a nurse or even a janitor somewhere. He never worked in MTA. So how is he going to advocate for any of those people, any of us? He can't. He can. And he hires these people that have never done any of the things that we have done. So he can't possibly understand how difficult it is for us to send our children, find the right school for them, place them in the right area and the right school for them. He wants to get rid of the gifted and talented programs, thinking that he's targeting the Asian children. But he's not. He's not. Bishop, you know, when I lived in North Carolina as a U.S. Marine, I went to a Black Baptist church, Galilee Baptist Church of North Carolina in Onslow County, and it's still there today. And these are the finest people I ever met in life, and together they built a neighborhood that can rival any of our neighborhood right here. As a police officer here, one of my cops, Elliot Allen, he's black. He came from the projects in the 7th precinct, and he worked for me as a police officer. He became a writer, a motivational speaker, a boxer, and he made his way to a neighborhood in New York City. And how many of you have heard of Cambria Heights? It's a beautiful neighborhood. It's a beautiful neighborhood built by the blacks. And if you drove through there, you would feel very safe, and it's a great neighborhood, and they love education, and they nurture their children, and they preach education and success, and that's what they do. So when Mamdani says, I want to take away the gifted and talented program from our schools because there's too many Asian kids in it, he's declaring war on the blacks as well. And you know what? Sunset Park as well, the Hispanics. He's declaring war on everybody. He hates the Italians, the Chinese, the blacks, who else? Police officers, military. Does this guy like anybody? No, and that's why we hate him. And, and if you saw my exchange with him in Albany, he was flabbergasted. He couldn't come up with a single answer. I said, yeah, you know, Mr. Mayor, our school food, they suck. The kids throw them away. We spend $360 million of New York City's money and $600 million of the USDA's money to feed our kids every year, only to have 75 to 80% of this food thrown away. We spend an average between $15 to $20 on school food per child per day. I'd rather you buy them a Happy Meal for $5 because at least I know they would eat it. And it would save a lot of money. You know why we don't do that? And tomorrow you're going to find out why. Well, I'm going to tell you now. Tomorrow I'm holding a press conference with Congresswoman Nicole Maliotakis in Staten Island, calling for federal investigation by the Department of Justice into the corruption of New York City, into the developers, into the city officials, and yes, even the elected officials in regards to these homeless shelter businesses. The homeless shelters are not about the homeless in New York City. It is a business. It is a tree growing out of the ground, and the fruit is money, and everybody's picking the fruit off of it as it grows. And it's a special group of people that's doing that. Hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars to service these homeless people. That really don't help them. That really don't help them. We need to give them training. We need to give them work. We need to give them their own community because, look, let's face it. Let's face reality. A lot of these people are career criminals. They're not gonna find vocation in our community. They are going to jeopardize the good folks going to and from work every day, going shopping, pick up their kids, things like that. So what I said to Mr. Mamdani in the public hearing in regards to the budget was, you know, I can think of two great locations for our veterans and our seniors to have affordable housing. And that's called 2501 86th Street and 2134 Coyle Street. Of course, that fell on deaf ears. I also have a bill that I introduced. So, you know, we have 250,000 warehoused apartments in New York City. They're just sitting there empty between the NYCHA and private owners. It's not worth it. I'm a small property owner. I know sometimes it's not worth it for me to renovate an apartment, a 3-bedroom, for $100,000 to bring it out back on the market, and they won't let me increase the rent. It's going to take me 30, 40 years to recover the cost of that renovation. So I have a bill. It's about to get a bill number, there's no bill number yet, that releases a stabilized apartment for 1 year. As the owner proves that he put $100 a square foot into renovating this apartment, he can let that apartment catch up to market rate, reintroduce it to the market, and then after that, it gets stabilized again. Can you imagine unleashing 100,000 apartments like this into the market? 2 bedrooms for $2,000, 3 bedrooms for $2,500. That would solve a lot of our housing problems right now because Section 8 will pay the $3,000 for the 3-bedroom. Handle it, right? So that's one idea that I came up with. Did we talk about affordability earlier? So I co-sponsored a bill with Senator Rollerson. And, you know, I don't know how, everybody knows that by the way, you saw my rebuttal to Governor Hochul's State of the State speech. I talk about energy. I talk about my 2 daughters doing a 6-year study of the Indian Point nuclear power plant and how my 10-year-old daughter in the year 2020 said in her award-winning science project that in 5 years, are you willing to pay 25% more for electricity? She said that in the year 2020, long before I was a senator, long before I ran for Senate. She was wrong. We're paying 50% more. Right now, as we speak, I don't care how, any state, how green they are or how fossil fuel they are, the undisputed fact is, New York State has the highest energy cost in the United States. And that includes Alaska and Hawaii and any territory that we have. And it's because we're supporting two energy infrastructures. We're supporting the fossil fuel sector and the nuclear sector. And we're supporting the CLCPA, green energy sector. We can't afford them both. What the Democrats have right now is a goal, and their goal is to go 100% green. That's fine, that's great, but that's a goal. What they don't have is a plan. We don't have that kind of technology. We don't have the electricity to go 100% green. They shut down Indian Point nuclear power plant, and now we're short. We're short 34% on electricity. But did you know that every $100 you pay in your gas and electric bill, right? While Hochul and the Democrats will play, oh, Con Edison's greedy, National Grid is greedy. No, they're not. They're not making a dime more than they did last year or the year before. Who's making out? The Public Service Commission, the people that approve these rate hikes. NYSERDA, the New York State Energy Commission, they have a slush fund that they've been collecting from you for the last 7 years. There's $2.5 billion in there, and by the end of the year, it'll be $3 billion. And I said, hey, how about this? We collected so much money. How about we give every ratepayer a tax holiday for 1 year, like we did COVID with gasoline? Instantly, you guys would feel your electric and gas bills go down by about 30%. Just 1 year. Right, for the homeowner around here, that bill is about $1,000. You instantly save $300 a month. We're not going to back that $300. We're going to spend it. We're going to feed the economy. We're going to lease a car. We're going to go eat. Right? We're going to do things like that with that money to drive the economy. But you know what the Democrats did? They said no. They said no. I said, why? They said, because we want to use that $2.5 billion for something else. I said, that's fine. You can use that $2.5 billion for something else. Because it doesn't cost anything. You just won't bank the extra $300 from each person each month. You still have the $2.5 billion. Right? So, and this is the kind of logic that we're dealing with in Albany. And it's so simple. All they have to do is stick this bill by me and Senator Robertson right in the budget, everybody signs it, and it's done, and you guys are instantly relieved by 30% for 1 year. 2 years for gas. 2 years for gas. And they won't do it. This is the logic that we debate in Albany, and we win every single debate. Unfortunately, we don't have the votes to win the vote. And by the way, where formerly they would just go to Hochul and say, you sign this bill or else we're just going to override you, and it's going to be embarrassing. So she had no choice to sign, but to sign every far-left bill that they had to present to her, until I came along and broke up the supermajority. I actually gave her a little bit of power back, so now they can't threaten her to veto her if she doesn't pass a bill. So now, but unfortunately, Hochul doesn't have that much common sense either, as we all know. So these are some of the things that we're fighting in Albany, and I'm sure my colleagues talked about public safety, where we have senators. Every bill they introduce talks about protecting the criminal or protecting the illegal immigrant. Look, I'm an immigrant too. I came here when I was 11 years old. By the way, Michael talked about the Strait of Hormuz, how the Iranians are putting water mines. The Strait of Hormuz is about 50 miles wide. And if you come to my office in Albany, you see my maps hanging on the wall because I was there. I was there as a United States Marine in a helicopter squadron, dragging a rake to sweep those mines out of the Strait of Hormuz. And I know exactly what he's talking about. And so for those of us who was here in 1979, I believe 1979, right? This war is 47 years late.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And it had to be fought. And they do threaten us. But you know what? Right after 9/11, I was in Ground Zero. I was there too. Yeah, I lived through a lot of disasters. So I was in the North Tower before it went down. I was a cop assigned to the 7th Precinct, the Lower East Side. We were right there. So I was at court that morning, dressed like this, and then we saw what happened. We went back to the precinct, suited up, and we ran into the North Tower blindly. And thank heavens, somebody had sense to say, let's get the heck out of here, and we got out of there, and as soon after that, it collapsed. Now, with that said, me and my friends often discussed 9/11 well after 9/11. And we thought, you know, they talk about dirty bombs. Remember they talk about dirty bombs and nuclear weapons and weapons of mass destruction, right? You think about that for a second, right? Let's say they do actually get their hands on one of these nuclear weapons and they set it off in New York City. And they destroy New York City, right? I hate to say it like this, right? But when they do, they destroy Pearl Harbor, right? What kind of America did they leave behind? They left behind an America that was very mad, very united, very strong. And our president, FDR, said, hey, all right, let's go destroy Japan. And everybody said, okay, let's do it, right? So you have to think about that for a second. If they do destroy a city like New York City, what kind of America would they leave behind? They would leave behind a very mad America, where anybody who tries to protect these people would get lynched, right? So there's a lot to think about. But Michael was right, Ari is right, and Alec is right. We do have to protect our interests worldwide. China don't have to bomb us with a nuclear bomb to take over. They do it every day. They're buying this country one pair of slippers at a time. Right? Every time you buy a pair of slippers for 99 cents, right, you put money in their pocket and they're buying that from us one pair at a time. Now, let's go back to slippers. Okay, so Governor Holcomb earlier in the year said, hey, guess what, guys? Right? Wall Street had a robust year, and they gave us an extra $6 billion to put into our budget, and that's great. She's right, they did. They had a great year. They paid an extra $6 billion in taxes, and now it's in our coffers. But she stops right there. Why did Wall Street have a great year? Did they have a great year because of her policies? Did they have a great year because of Mamdani's policies or Adams? No, Wall Street had a great year because of the Federal Reserve, because of the FTC, because of the SEC, because of our federal government under the guidance. I'm not a diehard Trumper, right? But Wall Street had a great year under the guidance of our president. That's why they had a great year. But they won't tell you that part. They won't admit that part. So, I do support our president, of course. I do like him. You know, look, I don't agree with 100% of the things that he's doing. I don't. If I do, there's something wrong with me. Right? If you do, there's something wrong with you. So, and just likewise, you're not going to agree with me 100% of the time. Right? But you know what? As long as you agree with me on most things, I think we see eye to eye. Won't everybody say that? Okay. So, I think...
So far I agree with you 100%.
There's something wrong with it because I'm paying you, right? So again, there's so much more to fight. There's so much more nonsense to stop the things that they want to do. They can pass 500 bills a year, and none of it will benefit any one of us here sitting here. I'd rather pass no bills than bad bills. So I want everybody to remember that when you see what I'm doing in Albany. I debate, I criticize, I attack. So if you Google me, Senator Chen, what's that word that they use, the media? Senator Chen grills Mamdani. You see it. You see my exchange with him in Albany, right? Oh, you did? Thank you so much. And there's so much more work to be done. You know, I don't know what their end game is, right? When they take away everybody from everyone, when they take away everything from everyone, property, like who's going to pay property tax? And he said he wants to end private property ownership. So who's going to pay property tax? Where's revenue going to come from? From you, more income tax. I can't imagine the amount of income tax we would have to pay to make up for that lost revenue, right? So look, we had a good system going over here in the last 7 years or so under one-party rule. We systematically broke something that wasn't broken. So I didn't even get into crime, right? Every day they tell you, you know, crime is down, don't worry, the subways are safe. But yet when we read the newspaper, or when we listen to the radio, we see people being pushed onto the tracks, getting punished for nothing. getting attacked, getting stabbed, getting burned. Right now, we just let an arsonist go who killed 4 people. And ICE was telling the government of New York, the city of New York, we want this guy. And we said, no, we're going to let him go. That doesn't make sense to me. Now, this is Brooklyn. All of us here know some kind of illegal immigrant. A lot of those immigrant families are doing great. They're like me, except for they don't have that green card. They came here to build a life, and they've been working here 20, 30, 40 years without ever getting in trouble. Right? We don't have to systematically round them up. But what we do have to do is get rid of all the Scarfaces that came into America in the last few years. And that should be the priority. Criminal aliens, we don't need any more killers, rapists, child abusers. We have enough. We don't need to import some more. Yeah, I know what the far left's narrative is. Oh, well, we don't have killers here. We don't have rapists here. We don't have child abusers here. Yes, we do. So do we want to import some more? No, we don't. Let's get rid of them. That's my take on illegal immigration. I see my friend Assemblyman Lester Chang just walked in. I carry a lot of his bills over here, and he carries a lot of my bills. I don't know if everybody knows here, right? For a law to take place. Let's say I wrote the legislation, right? I have to find an assemblyman to carry it to the assembly. They have to pass the identical bill, and then the governor has to pass that. It's not easy. It's not easy. But you know what? We're there. We're there for it. We're there for common sense. We're there for what you need. And I want to thank you for coming. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you, Senator Stiven Chen, for your service to New York City. Thank you so much. I would like to give a chance to speak to a great spiritual leader of First Baptist Church of Sheepshead Bay, Bishop Alfred Phillips. I recently visited this church twice, and I was very much impressed by how they treat people, how everybody supports each other, how everybody celebrates life, how everybody express love for New York City, for Brooklyn, and of course for church. And all of this happening under the leadership of Bishop Alfred Phillips. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ari. Good evening, everyone. We are grateful to be here. We are the First Baptist Church. My name is Bishop Alfred Phillips. I serve as the senior pastor. We are a community-based church. Our church was founded in 1899. The first church in America, probably in the world, that a African-American female started a church. This was in 1899 in Sheepshead Bay. So it's a great opportunity to be able to serve with such a great pioneer in the world. I wrote a few notes down. I'm not going to be long. Thank you again for all the speakers and for all of you coming out tonight. I want to thank Minister Melissa, our evangelist Rhonda, and also our sister Lorraine coming out tonight to be with us. We offer a high school diploma program for adults that are 18 and older that are dropouts. So we do that for the community, and also we have a senior day program, which is a pilot program. We do it once a month. We were able to get some funding from Vernikov's office and certainly the Brooklyn delegation for Brooklyn, and we're trying to expand that to be able to do it every Tuesday starting in next year. So we need your support, we need your efforts to make that a better for the community. We're here for the community. We also hosted the memorial service for Debrina Kawam, who was burned on the trains. I'm also a chaplain as well, and also work with the community patrol, clergy community patrol under Reverend Kevin McCall, who works with us very closely. But we had the memorial, and someone asked when we had the memorial service with Debrina Kawam, was she a member of our church? And I kindly replied, she's a member of the world, a member of society, a member. We do what we do because we care. It doesn't matter we're people, nationality, that doesn't matter to me. Oftentimes I'm new at First Baptist, and sometimes the members will come to me and say, Well, the community changed. So we made flyers with Asian language on it and Russian language on it to invite the community. It doesn't matter about, it's no black heaven, it's no this heaven and that heaven. I'm a believer that it's all of the people, it's the human race. So that's my premise that I come from, and it's certainly something that we are excited about. We are a community-based church. We are located 2349 East 15th Street here in Sheepshead Bay, Brooklyn. We have affectionately known as the lighthouse on the bay. So what does that mean? So when someone looks for a lighthouse, they look for somewhere for help or aid. And we are certainly living up to that. We're excited to be where we are. We're expanding. We invite all of you, any of you, and every one of you to come and be with us on a Sunday morning, 11 a.m. Again, that's 2349 East 15th Street. And we are in the community because we care. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Bishop. And as a small token of appreciation from our community, First Republican Club, it's a small donation to your church. Thank you so much. And we definitely will find opportunity to volunteer at your church because we are part of this community and you are part of the fabric of New York City. Thank you very much.